Alright, hey, how's it going? So you're 350 LP Master mid laner on a US. You said you reached match for the first time this season. You're aiming to go all the way up to Challenger. Fair enough. You're not quite sure if you're good enough to be up here already. You think your vision control is pretty shit and your laning could also be a lot better. I'd like to hear your impression from the VOD. Love your content. Keep doing it. Thank you, ma'am. So let's take a look at this VOD. I have looked at it a little bit already, and there was something I noticed. So I'm going to talk about your runes first. So you've got some kind of like interesting rune setups, I'd say. So looking at this like game in particular, you've got this like, this is a very good scaling page. Like you've got magical boots, you've got gathering absolute focus, so that when you get Rabadons, you're gonna have like a ton of extra AP. Also means just in general, you have a lot of extra AP like in the mid game, like even before you hit that, right? But I think this is the sort of rune page you run when you're against something where you don't get more value out of the other kind of sums. And I think there's a game down here. Where was it? Okay, this game right here against Corki, you're actually running runes that don't get you a lot of value. So like in this case, right, you've gone like the time warp, for example, and this doesn't really do anything versus Corki because he's not really a skill shot champion. Let me just move my chair. So like I would say that in compared to Zoe, like you kind of have the runes the wrong way round. Like I think this would be a game where you could go magical boots and futures because I don't think you really need biscuits. I don't think you really need corrupting pot. I think Scorch in this matchup is smart, but I think you probably should have taken Scorch this game as well. So if I were going to change your runes for this game, I'd say you could probably keep futures, but I'd probably take time warp instead of magic boots. Then I think I'd take Scorch instead of Gathering Storm. You can do this again if you're going to get a free scaling lane, stuff like Corki where you know, you can just like go ahead and scale for free. Also against champs that you can't really poke down. Like I think Scorch on Syndra is really, really good in a lot of lanes, especially in solo queue. In competitive, maybe you could take Gathering a bit more. I think your rune page isn't super optimal, especially because you're running like an Ignite Comet setup. So like you're definitely playing to win your lane. And then you haven't really like facilitated it in your runes, I don't feel like. Let's have a look at the game. Yeah, so Syndra vs Zoe matchup. Let's kind of start this off. So first thing, I think there's like I'm gonna go pretty hard on you because you know you're fairly high rank. I would say at level 1, Syndra has the advantage over Zoe. You have a 4-second cooldown. She has, I believe, a 7 or 9-second cooldown, right? So hers is a lot longer, and that means you should be able to get Prio on the first wave and get level 2, and then like pressure her under tower. Zoe struggles a lot at being under tower and actually farming. It also means that there's too many creeps in the way for her to ever harass you, because like she has difficulties like getting her Q and her E around creeps. So straight away, rather than being here, you should actually be ready to order this wave a bit further up. So I would say, rather than waiting... Oh wait, I'm just going to check. Can you see my mouse? Yeah, you can see my mouse. Okay. So rather than waiting for the wave to meet before you start auto attacking, there's no reason why you can't start auto attacking the wave here, for example. This is something I use a lot in competitive. You can oftentimes get 2 or 3 autos on the first creep, and that pretty much guarantees you Prio before the enemy mid even gets to touch it. And also, if Zoe does use her Q to try and like move you away from this, like 1, you can probably just move away and like get the cooldown for free. But also that means she's going to be on cooldown. You can just put like say 1 Q on the wave and guarantee Prio. So I think like the way you've done it here, you've given Zoe a lot of breathing room already, and she's just like getting wave Prio. If you let Zoe actually just like go up to the wave, she's actually really good at getting Prio because she'll get like the empowered autos on the wave. She'll be able to hit the backline for free. So I'd say that you've given up like a lot of lane Prio here. Also, you're not auto attacking the wave as much as you should. Like I think it's really important that you get pushed in this matchup. So I would say because Zoe used a Q, you could either look to harass her with your Q or you could drop a Q on all these creeps. But I think staying full mana and just like not using cooldowns at all is pretty bad, and you can be putting autos on these creeps but you're not. I think you're maybe playing for the wave to come to you, but I don't think that's good, to be honest. I think that gives Zoe way more breathing room. Like I think if Zoe's good, if the wave is pushed up here, right, it gives her way more room to dodge your skill shots. The only thing she needs to be careful of is talent, but she probably doesn't need to care until at least the 3rd wave. Whereas like if she's under here, under tower, like forced to CS when you have control, it should be a lot easier for her to dodge skill shots. So she's like opened herself up a lot of room. Like we'll see if like how much she's like really going to use it. Oh, actually, does she have Orange Ring as well? I think she does. Didn't check, but she also should be running Corrupting Time Warp. I would say you should as well, but it's like sort of personal preference, I would say. I think it's a little better. Like yeah, you're getting a lot of harass for free, but like, I mean, you are like at least accurate with your skill shots, and I think you are for the most part harassing when they go for CS. I think this should have been a Q. Maybe here's actually no, you had to CS a creep, so I think that's fine. You get the harass there. You kill this creep. Yeah, I think that's good. You managed to CS the creep as well as harass her. Nice auto attack. But she doesn't really need to play like this, to be honest. And also, yeah, like she has way less sustain than she should. She's getting hit by every single Q. I mean, like, you're punishing well, right? But I also think that it shouldn't really go like this. I think if you're against a high-level Zoe player, and she has control of the wave, you're going to be the one that's, like, not really able to pressure. Zoe can't pressure super hard in the early game, but, like, if it's here, but she also won't get pressured. You're chasing her down, you know she has no cooldowns. I think you can kill her here for free. I'm pretty sure. So pretty much the only way Zoe gets out here is if you like miss Qs, right? So I think at this point, all you need to do is actually ignite her early and keep auto attacking. What should happen here is that Zoe should be holding her flash for your Q, basically. But once you use the Q, like it's now easy for Zoe just to kind of like walk out of here. But I think like if you're like really smart about it, you realize that Zoe has no cooldowns, right? She has no E, so she's definitely gonna die before you do. So you just ignite and you keep chasing her with auto attacks, and then you can like hold the Q after a bit and then probably force her out or force her flash out. But it's fine. I think like a trade like this when you have better gank set up is normally pretty decent. She's not respecting. She's dead. Nice. So you get this. You push in the wave. It looks reset. Cool. Okay. So you've gone with the amp tome and refillable. I think that's correct because you have futures market. If you didn't have futures market, I would say go for Darksteel. But I think in this situation, it's probably the best. So let's see. So you come to the wave. I think you should have frozen this. I think. Yes, I'm pretty sure you should have. So I think you should have pulled this wave down towards the bush and have it frozen. Because at this point now, like before you didn't want the wave to kind of be here because it was like giving Zoe like a bunch of breathing room, and I don't think you should have been able to like realistically look for an all-in. But I think now, like when you have a significant advantage, like you should have an item advantage over her. You probably have a level advantage here as well. It can be really dangerous for Zoe to be pushed up this far. So I think, yeah, you could have pulled that wave down a bit and denied more on this next wave. So you could have done that, yeah. I wouldn't pull it up because I think you'd take too many creeps like of damage. But I think if you walk down towards the bush, you probably could have done that. Like, yeah, okay. If the wave were here right now and you had Talon nearby and you were like level advantage, it would be so scary for Zoe to try unfreeze this wave. So if you had frozen it there, it would have been a lot better. So you're gonna look for a gank angle anyway. I think you definitely used your stun way too early. I think Zoe is definitely dead here, or like at least burning her flash. But because you used your stun so early, I'm not sure if like you just wanted to use it because you didn't even know Talon was coming, or you thought Talon was closer. Like, I don't know what you're thinking here. Like, maybe you're just using this because that's how you play the 1v1. But I think here, like, if you recognize Zoe is hugging to your jungler, if all you do here is just wait for a second, wait maybe like 3 more seconds for your jungler to get closer, I think she loses her flash, or at least loses a lot of her health bar. And actually, okay, she's gonna lose her flash anyway. So it still went quite good, but I think that could have been like, it could have been way better. And like, again, if the wave were on this side, like this far up, it would be even worse for her. So I like what you're doing with the wave here. Now she has no flash, so you're definitely looking to kind of like keep the wave in a position where it's like sort of difficult for her to CS. I think you're being maybe a bit too passive, like with your positioning. Like, let's see. Yeah, I think this is a bit too passive. Like, you know this area down here is safe, right? But you're playing all the way up here. I think you could play more in line with like these creeps here. I think you could play in this area, and that way if Zoe does go for these Qs, she can like take a Q, so you can be standing like right here. You can look for Qs and E's on her here. The only problem is like you could get E'd, right? But if she is using Qs on these creeps like this, it's not going to matter much. And like also you should be able to like dodge it, I think, from max range. Yeah, so you're giving Zoe like a lot of control sort of for no reason. Good punish on the cooldown. You can see, yeah, like this is what happens if she uses Q and E's you, it doesn't matter at all. That's good. I do think you've kind of pushed the wave, and I don't think you wanted to do that. So how did that happen? It's fine right now. Like, it's good for you right now. Okay, so you shouldn't have queued these creeps. Like, you want the wave pushing to you. The only reason you would push this wave is like so you can get deep vision, but you don't need any, and you're like not safe walking to the top. So you could roam to another lane, but like realistically you can't walk to bot or to top. Or to like heavily harass her on the tower, but I think you can harass her more in the middle of the wave. Or I guess if you wanted to base, but I don't think you want that either. So basically, all the reasons here point towards keeping this wave on your side, especially because she has no flash. So you unfreezing that wave made the game a lot easier for her to play. And that's happened twice now. So it's definitely like a bad habit you have of maybe like pushing when you shouldn't. You should not be hugging towards topside here, like you really shouldn't. I think the reason you're hugging here is because you want to drop a ward on topside, but it's really, really unsafe. Like all your vision is bot side, your jungler is bot side, so all your safety is here. You don't need to go ward this. And if you do, and the jungler's here, like, it's Viego, so maybe you wouldn't, but like against a lot of junglers, if you walk like this, you would die. And actually, I think if Viego comes around behind you, you're losing your flash. So right now, you're definitely hugging to the wrong side of the lane. I don't think you're saying like in your fire thing that your vision control was bad. I think it's just like you don't even need to do this. Like you were just hugging to the wrong side. It would have been better to drop another safe ward bot side so that you could keep hugging towards the rest of your safety. I think we just saw Viego just then on this ward, did we? We just saw Viego, but it was like for a split second, so I doubt you saw it because like, you know, you're focusing on your lane and stuff. But you're gonna see him in a second. But that's like kind of crazy, right? Because if Viego was here in the river, like realistically, you could have like had to burn your flash here. I think that was sort of problematic. Let's see. So she's been very nice. She's pushed the wave back to you when it doesn't need to be. So that's very kind of her. I'm gonna clear out this wave. So good. So she's based, you fast push this wave, perfect. You get the last chapter, you get the pink ward, so you're in a good spot, and the wave's pushing to you. I mean, this is super, super good. This is another wave that you should pull and not blow up. But you kind of do, okay. I think, yeah, I like what you did here, sort of. I think you should have just pulled this entire wave rather than queuing this, because I think that would have meant that while this fight happens, you can still walk to the fight and it will deny that whole wave. It's still going to deny some of the wave, but because you cleared some of it, not that much. I actually wouldn't have pinked this bush here. I think even like for a couple reasons, like you can realize, I guess, that this pink is going to die, but more importantly, actually controlling this bush in a fight is super, super important. So I think either way, I probably would have held on to my pink just so I could pink this bush. And that's more like, that's safer for your lane anyway, but also for the team fight, it's gonna be really, really big. So I think this is actually a really good roam. Like the wave is in a point where it's gonna like deny the wave for Zoe, and you shouldn't lose anything here. You come down, nice ult. Let's actually see, did you do this correctly? I'd say not quite. Okay, it was like, it goes back a while, but it's sort of a problem that you used your W here, because you can get a bit more damage if you say drop a Q like here now and you had your W to pick it up, and then you could be carrying the W, use the W to stun. That way you have an extra ball worth of damage. So it doesn't matter here at all, but it might matter. You know, it could matter in a different fight. This is good. You win a fight. I think it's you pinged assistance on. I think this is a bad dragon, and the reason is, like, if you look at your lanes right now, like, your mid wave is getting pushed in, your bot wave is getting pushed in, and also you just used your ult, so, like, you could get this dragon, right? Like, maybe, but it's quite risky, because you're gonna have to give up, like, creeps for it most likely, and also you're not that strong. Like, their jungler and mid are dead, but I think it's, like, a big time investment, and it's honestly not worth it. I think, yeah, even for your jungler, I don't think it's worth it. I think if he based and went red buff, it's probably better. Like, the first dragon especially is pretty much useless, so I don't really like you doing this. I think it was a poor macro call. And actually, yeah, I actually think it's really, really bad. Okay, so this stun, yeah, this stun's pretty problematic as well. You need to be, like, really, really careful with your stun. You pretty much only ever get, like, one chance per team fight to use it, because it's, like, a 16-second cooldown. And it's also really important that you realize that your stun creates pressure just by having it, you know? If you use your stun and it's down, suddenly all that pressure's gone. But if you actually keep your stun, like, it creates pressure even if you don't use it. Obviously, you want to use it eventually, but, like, if you just, like, waste your stun, it's really, really big. So I think here, like, if you don't use the stun, right, if you just have the threat of stun this whole time, there's no way Jhin can ever walk up. And if he ever, like, tries to come in here, then you can look to stun him when it's really free, right? Or you could look to stun this Pyke after he goes in. But the problem is that you just have no stun, and they know that. Like, look at this Jhin, man. Like, he's literally walking on top of you because, like, you have no pressure anymore. And that's like super important. Whenever you team fight, whenever you skirmish, you need to be thinking like how you can create the maximum pressure with your positioning, with your abilities, with your sums, everything like that. So this was actually something that was like a big problem for me, like maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, was like wasting my cooldowns too much like this, and just like it really took me a while to recognize like how much pressure was lost and how it just like insanely affected team fights if I did waste cooldowns like that. It like actually completely changes them. So here you flash order. I guess you missed the Q. To be honest, I don't mind this death at all. So the reason is that like, okay, at this point when you're flashing forward, like I think if you hit the Q, obviously it's a kill, and at this point you have no idea where Viego is. Like it doesn't look like Viego can be here at all. It's sort of unlucky for you that he like blast cone over and then flashed on you. So I think like it's really hard to say that this is bad given the knowledge that you have at the time. I think again, if this bush were pinked like earlier in the fight, it would make this a lot easier because like well I guess your Q is just like sort of inaccurate anyway, but you would probably be able to see him anyway. You know, it would make aiming it a little bit easier. So you die here, which is like, it's pretty bad because you're going to miss this wave. But I think the death itself is more a symptom of like other problems. So like wasting your cooldown, not pinking that bush, you know, all that sort of stuff, like doing dragon to begin with. And like dying here, given the information that you have, I think it's correct to flash forward. It just sort of sucked. And like now, just a second later, there were new variables that you didn't know about at the time. So that's a bad death, obviously. But really, it's like the 30 seconds before it that kind of led to that death. So you come back to lane. You get a nice stun on Zoe. He's getting kind of destroyed. Another missed Q. Guy dies, but you get Zoe. Good. Not the end of the world. I think maybe you could be a little more patient with your Qs. Like, I notice you always use your Q like literally the second it comes off cooldown. But that's like sort of what they're going to expect almost. Like, obviously you don't want to wait too long, right? Because you're going to miss out on cooldowns. But sometimes you can just like wait like half a second, like 1 second to see kind of like what direction they're going to commit to. Or if they start juking themselves to death. So yeah, right now you're like very impatient with the Qs. And I think sometimes that leads to you throwing your skill shot just, I don't want to say carelessly, but like just not precisely enough, I guess. But you get the kill, so it's still pretty good. You get the wave pushed in. Oh, you got your base cancelled, I guess? Oh yeah, by this guy. That's super annoying. But it's fine, like I don't think you really lose anything for it. Come back on the map. Yeah, kill this. I think again you gotta kinda let this wave come to you. It's a bit too big. And also you're not super strong right now because you don't have ult. I mean sorry, you don't have ignite or flash, so you clear this out. That's good. The Khan's here. I think you're being a little bit too passive on this wave. I think it was fine when the wave was like built up like before. But I think here, like you have Rakan below you, you have Talon above you. So like you should be quite aggressive on this wave because even trades that are even on this wave will be good because you have two people nearby that can potentially look to kill her. Right now you're playing quite safe. I'm not sure, maybe to bait the gank or something like that, but yeah. Also, here's another situation of you using your E too early. I'm not sure if you're like looking at Rakan here, but if you wait, say 2 more seconds and Zoe walks up, like Rakan will be able to close the distance in time by dashing to you. But instead, like, okay, you do get a good chunk, right? But I think if you've been a little bit more patient, this probably could have been a kill. Talon dies in the top side. If you haven't fight, Akali gets a kill on Viego, so it's what, a 3v2? Ignite, 3 flashes.
Wait, what?
So you die. Let's go back. So I think Rakan walking bot was super weird. Rakan should definitely be here, but I think you might have misplayed. Let me just watch this again. So you walk in, you don't have a prepped Q. Stun is fine. Okay, yeah, so I think the problem here is, again, it's like you're not prepping an extra ball. So what should happen here is that you should, when you're walking this fight, okay, you should Q the ground right now, and you should hold it with your W, and then look for the stun with WE. So like drop the W ball and stun off it, and then you will have a Q damage. So you're basically, you're going to do the same damage here, but you're going to have an extra Q of damage, and also you're going to have an extra ball on your ult. So I think Q damage here is what, like 150, and then an extra ball is like 90. I think you're looking at about 240 more damage. So yeah, that'll kill Zoe, I'm pretty sure. So I think if Zoe dies and Akali lives, because Zoe's just gonna die when Akali hits her, and then maybe Akali still dies. No, I think Akali at least would have bought a lot of time. So I'm not sure if you can totally win this fight. I think it's like mainly on Rakan for leaving, but you could have played it better. You at least get one more kill, and you probably get out, I'm thinking. So you really need to get into the habit of like when you're going to a team fight, prepping that extra ball and holding with W, because it's going to allow you to get Q damage instead of W damage, and obviously because you're maxing Q, that's going to do more, and also it's going to allow you to get one more ball on your ult, so it's going to add up to like quite a bit of extra damage. That's going to be pretty important. He pushes in. I think this pink ward is pretty useless, honestly. I think this should be a pink in the river, and I think you can feel safe getting it. Like if you weren't safe, right, like you could wait for Rakan to move up. Like I think you could wait for this next wave to come or to meet and then look to pink it, but I think this ward doesn't provide very much for you or your team. So this is quite bad as well. I think like you should realize by now that this fight is already over, and it's really important that you're getting on the mid waves as soon as they come, because that allows you to pressure the map quicker because you can push faster. It also allows you to pressure Zoe and not let her push in waves for free. But because you committed too far to that, now you're forced to walk all the way around. So you basically lose an entire cannon wave worth of pressure and give Zoe the wave for free, which is very bad, I would say. And I actually think if Zoe's good, you lose your tower here, because you have Pike around, and she has Herald. I'm pretty sure, and it's a cannon wave. I think what should happen, Pike gets cold mid, she drops Herald, she saves her R. If you use cooldowns on the wave, you get dived. But either way, I think your tower dies here, so misplay from Zoe, but this was only allowed because you like overcommitted to a roam that wasn't, like, it just like wasn't good, basically. Again, like you do the same sort of thing here. You really need to be in position to hit this wave as soon as it comes. Like if you spend time in the river, you give up pride on this wave. Like to be honest, Zoe shouldn't even be hitting that pink. You're forced to flash. How did this happen? I think honestly this is just like, again, it's like you're in an unsafe position. You need to be on this wave. You don't really have any business being here.
Wait, I didn't even notice it was coming this way.
If you'd hit the stun, yeah, I think again, like if you'd been a okay, actually here, I think you did the combo sort of wrong. So I think you Q on him, like you just drop a Q when he jumps on you, right? And then you flash, and then you should ult him, and then stun with your ult. And that should get a kill, I'm pretty sure, because like you stun, which misses, and then you don't have vision of him to get the ult. But I'm pretty sure if you had Q'd first, and then even from this point, if rather than stunning, if you had ulted first, and then E'd, picked up that ball with your W, ignited, I'm pretty sure you would have killed this guy. So another kind of like, I don't want to call this mechanical, because I feel like this is more like, I don't know if it's mechanical. I guess like you gotta just like think a bit more in advance, like how you can play out fights, or maybe just like recognizing the skirmishes. I guess there's just like more thinking. I don't think your mechanics really are the problem. Like your skill shot accuracy is pretty good. You've missed a few, but like for the most part, it's been more like decision making in skirmishes that have, or in like map movements and stuff that have made it problematic for you. So again, yeah, like I think this is bad. Again, I think you can, well, actually there's a couple of things. So first, you should be catching, like you see Zoe moving top, right? Which means you can catch this wave further up than it is right now. Like you're moving, but you could hit this wave all the way up here. You can like grant yourself some more time with that. You're all pinging to go drag, but the mid wave's just going to be left even. So, I mean, you get them off it and you do get the drag, but I believe you could have done it without moving, and you lost that entire wave. So again, it's not, I mean, I don't know, it's not the worst in the world because you only lost one wave, but I think you could have optimized it a little more, and like those optimizations will be the difference maker eventually. Clear this. So yeah, okay, now you push in the wave, you walk bot. This is good. Like this is a way better roam, right? Because like by the time you're already here, by the time the next wave is crashing, so this is a super good roam. You come here, you kill that guy. That guy's super dead as well.
It's a big shot on.
Is it really? Oh, nice. And 1k. Okay, so that was a super good roam for you, and I just want to talk about it because like Compared to the other roams you went for, I'll tell you why this is good. So the first reason, obviously, is that you push the wave, right? But there's like a bunch of other reasons. The second reason is that your jungler is on this side of the map, so you're going to somewhere where your jungler already is. The third reason is that cooldowns have already been used. This Jhin, I believe, just healed, and also he's already 1 HP. So you know, again, like the wave is good. In terms of like where your team is on the map is good. Like there are already cooldowns used, and also they're pushed up, right? Like there were times where you were walking up to kind of like look at an Ornn that was already like here, whereas this time you're looking at like people that are already overextended. So there's like 3 or 4 reasons that make this roam good. That you, I guess, like didn't consider on the other roams, but it makes it a good roam basically. So you come down, you get the kills. I think you should have based quite a bit earlier. I don't think you want to, I mean, yeah, this is a waste of your time anyway. It's like I mean, this sucks that you go like tower shot, but you're wasting your time being here. After this, like, to be honest, I'm not even sure you should push this wave. Like, if they need help pushing the wave, you should, but you should be basing and looking to get back to mid ASAP so you can get, like, raptors, although tell them we'll get raptors in the mid wave. Like, putting auto attacks on towers is such a waste of time. Like, it's actually such a waste of time. And also, you're sharing golden XP between 3 people.
Okay.
Zoe gets a good kill on you, but it's like, again, it's like, okay, it's kind of like a skill check that you failed because like you walked up, you took 2 tower shots, then you didn't back off once you were low HP. But none of this needed to happen in the first place. If you had realized that you're wasting your time by being here, oh my god, she gets ult 3. Oh my god, yeah, that's like really painful, and that probably wouldn't have happened if you left, I don't think. Yeah, so that was like really, really bad, and I think that all happened from like a macro decision basically. Now here, I'm not sure if this is tilt or just you don't recognize it. Basically, you're deploying on the map, you're like pushing midway, right? But if you look right now, okay, your jungler is dead, so you have no support from him. Your support is top lane, your bot lane is pushed in, so you have no help right now, right? You should be, like, your map is weak, and you're scared, or you should be scared. You have no vision bot side, you have no vision top side, and they just did Herald. So this is like, and you have no flash. This is like maybe 5 or 6 things that make this scary, that should be like alarms going off in your head. So the fact that you walk up and die, it's like, it should not be a surprise for you at all. Like maybe you are just tilted or whatever, I'm not sure. Or maybe you just are unaware, because I think it would be better to be unaware than to be tilted, to be honest. Because that means it's something you can improve on. And I think it's like, with a bit more, I don't know if experience, or maybe now that you're just like aware of these things, it'll be easier for you to avoid. So yeah, I think, and that would have been pretty important, because like, say if you just like waited under tower for the mid wave, like you don't need to clear it up here. You know they're going to push this, you can just wait at the mid tower. You could have done wolves because Talon's pathing topside, so you could have cleared wolves here, waited for the wave to crash at your tower. You would have been able to defend this tier 2. So instead they get tier 2 and tier 3, you miss a wave, you miss wolves, you die. So it's like, by dying there you probably gave over maybe 1,000 gold total, and also you missed out on gold. So it's another really, really important death that adds up to a lot. And like, the game right now is reasonably close, right? So if you didn't have that death bot, if you didn't have that death mid, like you're actually in a pretty good spot. You come down here, nice play, good. So you get some kills.
You can get this, right?
Okay, it's a little, no, you should get this. You are down cooldowns, but they're down 2 members. I think again, it's gonna come down to how well you use your stun. The answer is not very well. This is like a super winnable fight. Okay, yeah, so, okay. The problem is, like, you don't have your stun until the fight is almost already decided. So you just, like, throw out your stun here. Even if this stun hits, what does it do? It's an Ornn. Like, it doesn't do anything. Like, if it hits Viego, you're out of range to punish him anyway. So you use your stun way, way too early. And, okay, if you had stun now, this guy's probably dead. So, like, wasting your stun, again, super, super important. And now, like, yeah, I mean, if you had stun here, it would be good. But instead, like, by the time you have stun, it's like when the fight is almost completely over. Using stun here, I think it's good. It's just like a small mechanical misplay, not the end of the world. The bigger problem was definitely what you had before. Like, if you hit that, he dies, right? But, it happens. Everyone misses skill shots. I think, actually, you can probably kill them, right? Nice flash. Did you need a flash? I'm not sure. I don't have the sound very high, but I think, well, maybe. Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure if it was that great a flash, but because like not having flash versus Ornn in team fights is gonna be quite hard, but you do get an extra kill out of it, so I mean it's decent, I think. On this guy, I think maybe you can kill him. You do have a lot of damage between the three of you. Okay, he flashes, so that's good. You get the wave in.
There's 5 here.
Once again, a wasted stun. Yeah, I mean the stuns are really bad. So here it's like you tried to stun to cancel this, right? But he got it off before your stun even hit. So like again, it was just wasted. 10-second cooldown now. If you had stun here, you could probably get this guy. Or actually, maybe you could just... No, you can't pop it on Zoe, but... Or, like, now if you had stun, for example. You are going to have it in a second. I think here you could... Yeah, I mean, if you'd had it there, I think you would have been able to, say, ult Ornn, just to put all the balls on the ground and then get a big AoE stun. And that would probably kill Viego, I think, because he was taking tower shots. So, again, like, wasting the stuns is, like... It's like, really, really big. Another thing is like you need to be looking to stun Zoe when she's ulting forward. So like here, you should be already ready, I guess, to stun this guy. I probably wouldn't put balls on the, or if you were gonna put a ball on the ground, put it here so you can pick it up with your W. Instead, like you use your cooldown here, so now she knows she has a window to be aggressive, and you don't have stun for this. Like I think if you have stun, or actually, to be honest, maybe you could just R or QR her and she dies. But instead, like, you're not in position to react to any of this. So, like, she gets away from it for free. You take some damage. And actually, I think you should have died. Let me check. She picks up that. Hits you with bubble. She can... Oh, if she Q flashes, you die. But maybe she dies. Is it possible you... No, you have Zhonya. Maybe you don't die. Okay, it's close. I think you could have played it better to kill Zoe anyway. Oh, now you're dead, though. Now you're definitely dead. So how did that happen? It was like... Well, where did you use your stun, by the way? Oh, no, you used your stun. Okay, that was a good stun here to get yourself out of that. So that's good. You should just keep walking up, which you do. Another Q. Stun in 2. Yeah, I think here you just, like, didn't leave in time. It is a 4v2. 5v2? 4v2? Not sure if it's a 4v2 or a 5v2, but either way, you're, like, staying for a tower that's not yours. And also, it's like, what do you gain from defending this, right? Like, it's already 1 HP. You can just give this... You can wait for the Sakali TP to come in. I think here, yeah, you just like back out way, way earlier. To be honest, you should probably leave now. I don't think you should contest this at all. I was saying like maybe if you have stun, you could punish her, but I actually think you should probably just leave. I think this tower is dead. And yeah, that causes you to die. It's not the worst death because you don't actually lose any farm for it. It's not like the most punishing death, although if you lose Baron, it'll be quite punishing. Okay, well, you don't lose Baron. Run straight to this fight. I don't think there's much you could have done there. They're going Baron, I assume, so you can trade on the other side of the map. Good decision by you. Nothing here. This seems really greedy, I think. Yeah, I think this is like mainly greedy pathing. So if you like look at the map, right, again, like your jungle's in base, you have no control of the mid wave, and your Akali's nowhere near. And you know they're in bot side, right? You saw Ornn deploy bot out of base. Like you know that they're all playing bot side right now. So this is very, very scary. You need to like ideally group back through mid and regain control with your team. So walking through here, again, it should not be a surprise that you died. Like I think it is hard to like keep track of all this stuff, obviously, and it's going to take you time to work on it. But you can kind of predict all this stuff in advance, or at least like have an idea. Like I guess you don't know exactly which bush they'll be in, but I think you can have a general idea that that dragon is probably not yours, and also that you just need to chill out a bit. Like, and if you do want to contest a dragon, it has to be through regaining control of midwave. Good Zhonya. I think again, this is like, this is not that great. I'm thinking even if you get this flash stun, is it good? I guess it is good. Like if you do get the flash stun on him, it's pretty impactful.
Oh, that was
Oh wow, you got smoked. Let's see. I think. How do you play it better? You have to like, because the problem is you're chasing into a choke versus Zoe Ornn. I think you probably just don't flash, but I can understand why you did. And then you would have flash to dodge this Ornn. But to be honest, like I feel like the game is mostly decided by this point anyway. Like it's just really, really hard to play the game from this point. Oh, you actually come back, sort of? You're using your stuns pretty early, really often. Because, like, if you didn't stun here... Okay, if you had just done everything the same, but you hadn't used your stun, you just pick up a W, pick up an orb instead of a creep. You would just... you could, like, R and then E on this guy and probably stun them both. Yeah, I think you definitely get a kill here if you played it like that. There's maybe an argument that, like, they wouldn't walk up at all if you hadn't wasted your stun, which is possible, but I think it's giving them a lot of credit. I think people are quite dumb in general. They don't play around cooldowns that well. So here you're punished, like, for the 20th time this game of using your stun too early. You should realize again that your stun creates a lot of pressure simply through not using it. Like, where is this guy gonna go? Like, he can't go anywhere. You can literally just like corral him into the corner. As long as you hold your E, there's nothing he can do. Like, you can even fish for Qs on him, but if you hold your E, that way if he ever jumps on you like this, you can just like E to knock him back and then he'll die. So you die for free here. Maybe you could have like reacted. No, actually it's so hard. No, you couldn't react in time with Zhonya's. The main thing again was just wasting your stun. You maybe could have played the range a little better. Like, you are walking quite far into him. You're giving him this range, although admittedly it is quite long range, like disengage. Actually no, here I think you'd be fine if you'd kept walking this way, but you did kind of make a couple clicks back into him. But the biggest problem again was using your stun. So that's pretty much it. Let me bring up a notepad and talk about your stuff. So I think I'll just call this like what was your name? Eric, I think. Eric cooking. Let me just check that before I call you someone else. Yep, okay. So we got Eric, Syndra vs Zoe coaching. What I'll do is I'll just write some notes. I'll copy paste it to you on Fiverr, and if you have any questions about it, you can obviously just message me on Discord or whatever at any time. Let's see, what do we have here? In the early game, you should be like okay, so first off, you need to contest the first wave way more. Like, the first 3 waves in ranged versus ranged matchups are super important because it allows you to get level 2 first, allows you to get level 3 first, and allows you to chunk them down so that when the wave crashes and bounces back, they're already low, and that puts you in a super good spot to freeze. So you played the first 3 waves, I'd say, sort of badly, or at least like not optimally. I guess not badly, but not optimally. And then I think also after the first 3 waves, look for like freezes / pulling the wave way more often. So there's a lot of times where you're not quite doing the right thing with the wave. There's a lot of times where Zoe could be getting punished really, really hard. I think also there are some times where you should position more aggressively in lane. Like in lane, there were a few times in the early game where Zoe didn't get like punished as much because you were like being a bit too kind with your positioning. It was more later in the lane. I can't find the example, but it was like Zoe was like moving up here and using Qs, and you should have been down here or something. Try and like be in line, with creep. I think also, yeah, your I think your runes like verse skill shots / early game champs, stuff like Scourge plus Time Warp Tonic gets you a lot of value, so that can help win your lane a bit harder. You can still keep Futures Market. You don't have to take like Biscuits and Futures Market. I mean, Time Warp Tonic. So there's that. I think also you need to be like way more aware. Like, you need to be more aware of which side is safe for you. So there was like times where you were hugging to a side that I think was sort of unsafe, and where you should have been like warding to the other time. Also in lane, you need to be more patient with your stun to set up ganks. There were probably maybe 2 ganks that you could have set up if you'd been like a little more patient with your E.
Could be dangerous.
This was a good round. Oh yeah, and in general, I'm literally gonna put like a team fights thing. You need to be like with your E specifically, like you need to just use it better basically, like create pressure by not using it. Like wasting it is really, really bad. But as like a concept, you need to think about like how to create the most like pressure with your like movement slash spell or output cooldowns slash sums, etc. Like all that, you need to just like be thinking like in the moment, like, okay, how can I create the most pressure at the moment? And a lot of the times you'll realize, oh yeah, also this like macro called, so like identifying like wave states. So you're starting this dragon, but if you look at the wave states right now, it's like a really bad time to start dragon. Again, you could have played it a little better, but like the problem was kind of like already there. Oh yeah, a mechanical thing is holding W to get an extra Q damage and also an extra orb. So that's very Syndra specific. But yeah, that'll make it. There's like maybe two kills you missed out because of that. I think also being like I guess this goes for all during the game. So like I'm just gonna write like all game or something. Like being really aware or being no like recognizing how important mid waves are. So like there's a lot of times where you're just like giving position on this mid wave and Zoe gets it for free, and that means like you can't really contest it. Also, yeah, there's like that little thing there we talked about where you could have killed that Viego. Oh yeah, and there was that. Did I already go past it where you died bot, or is that later? I think it's later. Oh yeah, it's like here, right? So this was a good run. You need to be, you should have like another kind of like warning, or like it should feel really bad sharing gold XP. Basically, like when you're pushing this together with two other people and sharing gold with your ADC, this should feel really bad to you, and you should want to get out of this situation as soon as possible. Instead, you're just committing to like share auto attacks on a tower, which is super weird, and like you all die, but it's like, you know, the mistake was like way before. This was a big problem. So like I guess maybe a habit you could get into is habit of checking like vision slash positions when you clear waves. So like here, you can do this in lane phase as well, but when a habit I kind of have is like when the new waves arrives, I kind of like go through a checklist in my head of like what I need to think about. So right here, I would look at my support, I would look at my jungle, and I'd look at the vision around mid, and I'd probably look at my bot lane as well, and realize that all these things, not knowing where anyone is, having no one near me, and being like the one target on the map that can die, like Akali's not killable, right? Aphelios is not killable. So you're like, you've got a giant target on you right now, and you walk up and just like die for free, basically. And it was like a really obvious death. Yeah, I mean, we talked about there's like loads of team fighting where you use your stun poorly and you just like didn't create pressure as well as you could. Yeah, I think here maybe just like thinking about numbers a bit more. So like here it's a 4v2 under tower, and like what does this tower actually mean? Like not much. You can leave this without dying. This was fine. I think the only other really like macro problem was when you when you walked in here, so like recognizing that they had just gotten Baron, they had all deployed bot side. Again, this could be like you see the new wave coming, you do like a little checklist in your head, you see that there is no vision here, you know there are people here, no one can help you, and you're just like face checking a bush. So I think that's kind of already covered by some of the other stuff. I'll just save this. Let's see, is there anything else? I don't think there was. I think that was pretty much it. So how do you actually work on this stuff? It's gonna be a long document, right? I guess like the biggest things for you to work on is like just like your wave control in general. You just need to like think about it a bit more in those first 3 waves and like freezing the waves after. I think also you need to have like a really big thing about like not like looking at the map, but just like realizing or just like identifying like safe side, mid game like weak side / strong side, just like checklist after wave, just like all the stuff that'll keep you safe while you're kind of like clearing waves. Mechanically, like I'll just put like Syndra specific W mechanic, like having the W to carry an extra orb and then get Q damage is really important. Oh yeah, and the team fights, like the team fight and E, cooldowns in general, like how to create the most pressure. I think like if you want to summarize it, these are probably like the 4 things that are biggest. Oh yeah, maybe it should feel really bad sharing gold XP. I'm not sure. I mean, that's like pretty big as well. I'll put it as well. I'm actually just gonna copy paste it. I think this is also really important because like you are quite behind in CS. Part of it is because you've died a lot, but also there were some times where you were sharing XP and gold when you really shouldn't have. So I think that's it. What I'll do, yeah, again, I'll copy paste this to you on Fiverr, so it's all there for you. If you have any questions, just message me on Fiverr or message me on Discord or YouTube or literally wherever. I will always respond, like normally within like a day or something. So yeah, hopefully it was helpful for you, and you definitely will hit Challenger, I think, if you fix a lot of these things. You know, you're already most of the way there, and you have a lot of the fundamentals down, but you're just like missing a lot of the key things that kind of like, you know, change this game from a losing game into a winning game, really. So yeah, best of luck, and yeah, thanks for getting some coaching and supporting me, man. Really appreciate it.